By Samardzija, inside the 20, inside the 10, he's going in! Notre Dame has scored!
Go! You will be that driving force to motivate those coaches and those players to beat Southern Cal!
Notre Dame is relevant again.
The 20, the 10, five, rocket touchdown!
Notre Dame is number one!
It's a game of who's going to flinch first. We know that isn't going to be Notre Dame.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Golden Domers Report. This is an emergency podcast. The last time we did an emergency podcast, folks, it was the day that Brian Kelly announced that he was leaving the University of Notre Dame. We got Wiz in the house. Dylan Kern's back from vacation. Logan Trailer Jr. unfortunately could not make it. He's playing tonight in the OHSAA playoffs, or I think that's what they call them at least. Listen, we got an issue. We have a serious issue in Notre Dame football. It is not looking good at all. The Irish have lost Chris Tyree, Holden Stays, Rico Flores, Tobias Merriweather, Zeke Carell, Nana Hama, Ramon Henderson, and Braylon James. Wow. Logan, talk about a team in shambles right now with one game left to be played. I know I joke about the Who Cares Bowl, but there's going to be a lot of eyes on Notre Dame if they play LSU in a bowl game. So this is not good.
Yeah, obviously not as prepared as I want to, but wake up the last 3 days, scared to open Twitter, scared to check GDR group chat. It has been a wild 72 hours since we last did the show. I will say it is sad, like reading some of the stuff that fans have to say to these 18, 19-year-old kids that have left. Mm-hmm. This definitely doesn't represent Notre Dame in the best way. But listen, now is not the time to freak out. I don't think it is as bad as everybody's making it out to be. And let's be honest, this bowl game, is it important to get 10 wins? Yes, but it doesn't elevate our program any way if we win a bowl game, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So
Correct.
I think this next, you're going to find out a lot between Christmas and now you go into spring. I mean, we'll still be dealing with this in the springtime. So hopefully there's some good news within the next 72 hours about that quarterback from Duke potentially coming, and hopefully we can get him. That would be some good news, in my opinion, for Notre Dame. But listen, wide receivers in the portal, that position is there's so many transfers every year. Like there's as many as leaves that you can get. So I'm not freaking out to that point. The only part I'm freaking out is you lose experience.
Yeah.
You lose Rico, who's young, but was wide receiver one. Mm-hmm. So you lose Chris Tyree. So you lose some of that veteran experience, if you will, in that room, which is huge. Mm-hmm. So I think that we have to go into the portal. And I think Marcus and Jared are going to fix this and make sure that they not only are going to get a guy that can produce, but can be a leader. Mm-hmm. You still have Jaden Thomas. You still have Deion Colsey, who's, as you guys know, I'm super high on him if he's healthy.
Right.
Everybody says how his ceiling is so high. He has a lot of room to improve. But, they think he can get there. Obviously, we know what we're going to get out of Jordan Faison. Mm-hmm. So I'm still, you got to stay at a 7, right? Especially as a Notre Dame fan, you can't get too high and you can't get too low. Mm-hmm. Especially in the current age of college football. This is what we're going to be dealing with every year, and there's going to be names in it. I want to pass it to Dylan because I haven't heard Dylan's voice in 2 weeks, and I am so excited to hear Dr. Wiz himself.
Go for it, Wiz.
Well, when I look at this situation, obviously it's going throughout all college football. All these fans of certain schools are waking up, especially when your team's out of it, like us. Thanks a lot. But I'm saying, like, when you look at it as a whole, if you're not playing in the college football, this is the time everyone's like, all right, we're done. We're not in the playoff. We're done. This is it. I'm going to move here. I'm going to enter the portal. Let's see where I can get the most NIL money. And JR brought up a good point in the group chat talking about the value of a Notre Dame education and a degree from Notre Dame. It's big time. Make it in the real world, do your things like that. But these kids are thinking, I can still make millions of dollars, maybe get in a better role in a program that has shown success, whether they go to a big school, whether they go in Brian Kelly's footsteps to an LSU or wherever these kids go. They're putting themselves in a situation to succeed. They saw an offense this year that was, it was up and down throughout the course of the season. Sam Hartman was a good quarterback. They didn't maximize their value on the outside. And it's proven the last few years. You go back through a couple of the last wide receiver classes, they're not names that are just like, oh my gosh, they really stood out there during their time in college. But you have to look at it as a whole from that aspect. It's not working right now at Notre Dame in the wide receiver room. So they want an opportunity to play. They can make millions. The degree will be a degree at the end of the day. Obviously, it's more prestigious from Notre Dame, but these kids aren't thinking about that right now. They're 20-some years old. They're talking about playing football, making millions of dollars, and maybe making it to the league.
Mm-hmm. You know, Dylan, the last time I could think of a Notre Dame wide receiver that really was eye-opening to me, obviously, you think of the Michael Mayers, the Cole Kmets, tight ends. It's got to be Miles Boykin, maybe, from that 2018 season. Chase Claypool was another one. He was a wide receiver, but he wasn't anything too spectacular. We all know how he faded out. So Miles Boykin really has been the only wide receiver I can think of that was just elite. He was elite. And then before that, of course, the Will Fullers, the Golden Tates, all those, Michael Floyd. So
yeah, you just here's my problem with that. You just spanned 10 years when you said those names.
Right.
You're not talking about the baseball player Torrey Hunter or the guy who quit to run student council and Corey Robinson.
Mm-hmm. Right. Now he had some injuries that he was dealing with, but I'll just say that. Now, Logan, Dylan, this all just seems like a funky timeline here. I know we've been talking a little bit about Coach Stuckey and Notre Dame firing him. This just all seems to be a backlash of Coach Freeman parting ways with Coach Stuckey. To be honest, I've heard a lot on Twitter that the players don't like Coach Stuckey. Well, ever since Coach Stuckey has left, we have lost Tyree, Stays, Flores, Merriweather, and Braylon James. What is going on?
I think it stems from Freeman, Monday on the Zoom said that, he wants his guys. He would like to keep everybody off of it on his staff that was on it this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think it stems from guys who love Stuckey and are leaving, and guys that didn't like Stuckey, and that bridge with Notre Dame was burned. So I think it's a mixture of both ways. I don't think everything, like Twitter, like we're not insiders, we're fans at the end of the day, right? So we don't know exactly what's going on, behind closed doors. But, when it comes to Rico, all the speculation it wasn't about Stuckey. Like there was something else there, maybe. I'm not going to sit here and speculate. We could be here for 8 hours and speculate about each of them. But that's what everybody says, and that's what I think it comes down to. If I really like a coach and he leaves, and I live, and you got to think we're not in high school, right?
Right.
So you can't. You have kids from California, all over the country that this coach and Stuckey recruited them to come to South Bend, Indiana, and they had a relationship with him. And let's be honest, position coach, you probably have a better relationship with your wide receivers more than your head coach, or
mm-hmm.
probably more than your offensive coordinator, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's an issue. Like I think that's maybe not an issue. That's the reality of it. If I'm a wide receiver at Notre Dame and Stuckey recruited me, and now all of a sudden he's gone,
mm-hmm.
I can't judge an 18 or 19-year-old kid on what he's going to do, because I would have hesitations. I would have concerns about that as well. So I think that's where it comes down to. Stuckey pissed somebody off, the bridge was burned, or they really love him and they want to leave.
Mm-hmm. So my understanding of that, Logan, is it's almost like you're saying Stuckey brought a guy here, and the player was like, hey, that's my guy, and you just let go of my guy. You just let go of my rock, my person that was there for me at Notre Dame. Like, he was my guy, and you just let him go. So now I'm gonna leave. Am I hearing you right?
Yep.
All right. Yeah. Dylan, now looking at you, man, it's just frustrating to see all this timeline stuff. All these players leaving, and here we are again. For 2 years ago, it's our head coach. This year, it's our players leaving. So where do we go from here, Wiz?
He's got to make a splash. And I maybe some of this is too. We talk about it. You lose trust in your head coach when he goes back on his word. And here he was standing at his presser saying he hopes everyone's back. And then a few days later, there goes the wide receiver coach. Mm-hmm. And it's they look right at the mouth. The mouth he says, look, he told them everyone's safe. Well, not so fast. You'd think, okay, maybe they're safe throughout the end of the season, but no, they fire him before a bowl game. Now you got this debacle where we're going to be throwing to left tackles in the game if we have to, and we're going to have a problem. But I mean, looking at it from a whole view, you have to start making splashes. I brought up Keon Coleman before. Maybe he doesn't have the grades. I don't know, but I thought he would have been a great fit to our team. I thought that they should start spending most of their NIL money at the wide receiver position because quarterbacks will work themselves out. You can laugh all you want at Ohio State. They have a MAC quarterback playing there, and they're 11-1. So, I mean, they got weapons on the outside, and he makes them look good.
Easy on the Mac. I do not appreciate the Mac hate that's been received on this show. Now, looking forward to that bowl game, which is going to be announced on Sunday, and we won't play it until late December, early January. As of right now, Faison, Greathouse, Salerno, Thomas, Smith, and Deion Colsey obviously hurt. So minus Colsey, Smith, Thomas, Salerno, Greathouse, and Faison are our core receiving core for Sam Hartman and Notre Dame in the bowl game. Logan, I got to say, I am not too confident in that receiving core for the bowl game.
I'm sorry, I could give a shit less about what we have going into the bowl game. Excuse my French. I am just – I said it, what was it, Thursday. Back to Dylan's point, you got to make a splash. You got to get somebody, over here that has produced. Listen, it's Notre Dame, and this is where the portal's going to pinch Notre Dame a little bit, is you have to get, especially if you're not a graduate transfer, you have to get accepted into the school. Mm-hmm. And that's where I think it's going to be really hard for Freeman to go get a guy. He has a better chance of going to Stanford, Duke, Wake Forest, a prestigious education institution that provides not at the highest level in Notre Dame, but a Stanford wide receiver that the admission office can say, okay, yes, he's going to fly through this and we can get him in, versus a kid from Auburn, versus a kid from, Bama. Just throwing that out there. Like, let's be honest, the academic standards aren't as high as these college football powerhouses, with the exception of Michigan, which isn't high as Notre Dame, but similar. Mm-hmm. So, I think that's where we're going to get pinched. But as you know, I'm so excited for the 24 class. Like, this is where, I would rather have a program that, and this is what because I think we're finally at the point. Sorry, I'm sputtering. I'm excited. That I am so excited for this wide receiver room, because you're at the ground. You are ground level right now, and you have to build it up. And how you build it up is through your recruiting. And this is where you have Cam Williams, you have Logan Saldate, who's the other, you have Micah Gilbert. These guys are good. And we're going to find out a lot about Jared. We're going to find out a lot about Freeman, because we saw it this year. We had a lot of highly recruited guys that didn't produce. Correct. So I think these three guys are going to be, able to have the opportunity to really produce their first year here. So I'm not freaking out as much. Like I said, with Rico situation, like, start to think about like their positions, like, we try to we always say, put your kids in a position to succeed. I would argue that Rico was never really put in a position where he could succeed. And then you look, he's playing on the outside. That's not going to work at Notre Dame when you have some of the guys that, one, are going to get healthy, and then the guys coming in, he's not going to be our best wide receiver. He's not going to be wide receiver one. And if he is, our wide receiver room, all due respect to Rico, isn't going to be at the level we want it to be. So that's where I'm at. We talk about going into the portal for the quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, Notre Dame has a really good opportunity to really prove that, okay, you come here, we can develop you. We can produce NFL level talent. You can get money from the NIL. You can get money going to the draft. And most importantly, you can get your Notre Dame degree. You're a jack of all trades. And I think that's how Freeman will sell it and has been selling it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Logan.
I have one.
Dylan, go ahead.
I have a take, and I got to bounce here soon, but I just got to say, off my chest, this is the most important offseason for the trajectory of Notre Dame football in a very, 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 very long time. And I'll say this.
I would agree.
Losing the athletic director, a head coach who I think people are 50-50 on, maybe leaning towards not the guy, than they are the guy. If you don't hit home runs in this portal, if you find a way to lose 3 games on that schedule next year, this is ugly. People are going to walk out the building. He's fired. New AD. This could be a complete downfall in Notre Dame football. It's the most important offseason we've had in a very, very, very long time. He has to go out and get these guys, be aggressive, show some fortitude, and go get some football players because it's getting old. I want to see some winning at this university. And I want to be able to get guys who can come in and make plays on the outside so we don't get beat down when we step in big games. That's what we have to do. That's what they need to do. That's what, with a new athletic director comes in, maybe some more funding comes to the football program. Maybe we can spend more in NIL. Maybe we can get those big players. That's what you need because you can't sit on your thumbs and go out next year and be like, oh, we had the opportunity. Then 5 more walk out the door before a meaningless bowl game.
Mm-hmm. So my question to you, Dylan, is who are we going to get? There's not really many wide receivers on the market right now, and I haven't seen many wide receivers in the portal. I said the market. I'm sorry. I meant the portal, but we all know it's a market.
It's the market.
It feels like the market.
I know. I should have said portal, but you know what I mean. So who anyway, who are we going to get? I mean, there's not really many options out there as of now.
It'll change. I mean, it'll change. We have the young guys coming in, but I think they really need to get one wide receiver transfer that can come in and make plays. Remember they did it with Ben Skoranek a couple years ago, brought him in. He was making plays for them. That's what they need. They need to find someone like that they can rely on scouting. They can rely on other things that they have going for them and just scout a guy and believe that they're the right fit because Skoranek came in and made plays immediately.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, he did. So moving forward, Logan, looking ahead to next year, are you confident in next season moving forward right now?
I think Dylan, to answer your question, yes, I think Dylan hit it on the head. That listen, we're what 1 week into the portal.
Yeah,
I think it's been open for 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
Hit that. So there is a level of expectations in this offseason, and you have to meet these expectations, and hopefully they are met early. Which I think, our coaches are all out recruiting right now. We're going to see commits. They were with Cam Williams today. It is crucial that we don't lose any of these 24 commits. It is crucial. You see guys leaving as a recruit. You're kind of worried. It is a red flag, and it makes me nervous. However, going into next year, you got to make sure that the product that you put on the field is good enough to win in College Station. That's my priority right now. It's not going to play Florida State in November. It's not any USC. It is College Station, that first game of the year. And you got to – that is – I would argue going into his 3rd year, that is his biggest game to date. You can argue Ohio State he fell short, whatever the case may be. College Station, when he goes into Texas A&M and plays Mike Elko, that is the that is a program-defining game, and it sucks because you're in a position now where Texas A&M is going to be fired up, and it's nerve-wracking. I mean, as a Notre Dame fan, it's a big game. We talked about it Thursday. It's going to be a college game day most likely. It's going to be a very highly anticipated game from here on out. Looking forward to next year. So That's where I'm at with it. I'm not freaking out.
And we don't know what Texas A&M is going to be as of now. We kind of get a sense of what we're going to be. I kind of get a sense of what A&M is going to be. Coach Elko is going to coach them boys up. I can tell you that right now. They're going to have a solid defensive staff. They're going to have a solid defensive unit there. Offensively, who knows what A&M will be, but I can tell you what, that place will be rocking next year in the season opener. It's first of all, it's the season opener. You play your first year head coach, and it's Notre Dame. Go ahead, Dylan.
Is that Riley Leonard against his old coach?
It very well could be. It most likely will be, which great. Great.
Auburn's making a hell of a push, is what everybody is saying.
Auburn is I've seen on Twitter as well, or X. We've called it Twitter all day. X. That Auburn. Auburn has made is making a push at Riley Leonard. They need a quarterback desperately. All right, last thing to close out with before we all got to head out of here. Who replaces Coach Stuckey? And if JR were here, I think I know a name that he would throw out there. Coach Randall L.
Oh, that's tough. I'm not too educated and don't have a ton of information on wide receiver coaches in college football, but there has been, I think no matter who it is, it's going to be a guy. It's going to be a splash. It's not going to be, a buddy, like a BK move, like, oh, I coach with you at Central Michigan, just come along kind of move. I think it's going to be someone who knows what he's doing with the. And we missed out. We missed out last year. Obviously, it didn't. This Stuckey move I'm excited about because I'm not going to cheer for a guy losing his job, but I am going to cheer for the fact Freeman is taking ownership in his staff, and that's a move I don't think BK moves, or that's a move that I don't think BK does and makes. And so I'm excited about that. I think Freeman will get the right guy. You have the opportunity to coach at Notre Dame. That says a lot for itself. It's an attractive job as is. And with the level of being able to recruit alongside Freeman, alongside Parker, who has done a good job, and alongside Golden, God praise that he stays. Haven't heard anything, but if you can keep your three main coaches who have done a great job in the recruiting trail, especially with the challenges that Notre Dame brings when it comes to recruiting, it's got to be a guy who can recruit at the same level as Marcus and as Jared.
Absolutely. So, and as Coach Stuckey. Coach Stuckey did a fantastic job as well, recruiting. So, Dylan, before I know you got to head out of here, so go ahead. Who would you like to see?
I brought this name up weeks ago. It was I think it was last month or 2 months ago, whatever it was. We were on the show talking about getting former players and stuff like that. I don't know if he's in coaching, but he was great for the university. He has NFL experience. It's worked with Ohio State and Brian Hartline bringing a guy like that back. Why don't we go for TJ Jones?
Very well. Interesting. TJ Jones, the name I haven't heard in a while.
I wouldn't mind bringing in a Notre Dame guy, but I would much prefer them go after Hartline.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're not getting Hartline. He's the OC there now.
That would be amazing, but very unrealistic.
Right.
Del would be another name. There's people that are 50-50 on him.
I'd love to see him. And if you bring in Del Alexander, there's the possibility that you could have him co-offensive coordinator with Jared Parker. Even I've heard rumors about that even a lot on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. So my guy I would like to see is Randall L. I wouldn't mind that. I think JR would be with me there. Obviously an IU guy. He missed out on that opportunity. You don't know what Coach Signetti is going to do at IU. He might bring Coach L in as offensive coordinator or wide receivers coach. So there is a lot of possibilities to be determined in the near future. On this Friday, December 1st, hey, happy December. We lost our receiving core. We got to fix it before 2024 in College Station. So we will keep you updated on everything throughout the offseason. Of course, we'll do once a month shows after the season ends in February, March, April, May. And then, of course, when the season starts, obviously we'll get a grasp. But we're not done. Don't worry. This is just an emergency podcast. We're back on Tuesday to recap the college football playoff selection committee, as well as the conference championship week. Make our bowl
I will
picks.
be there.
And Dylan Kearns will finally be there for a Tuesday show. Can you guys believe it? Hey, Wiz, have fun tonight in Ohio. What are you covering tonight? You got Ohio OHSAA?
OHSA basketball tips off tonight, starting the night at Philo High School, 6:30 tip, no JV. We love that. Gives me drive time to get to a 7:30 tip at John Glenn. 2 games, highlights galore. We're ready.
John Glenn, one of the powerhouses in Ohio. Love that name, John Glenn. Logan, anything up? What are you up to tonight? Twitter, just surfing the Twitter message boards?
That high school basketball as well. We got to make 2 games. So gonna go to the game for the first half, try to jet over to the other side of town to catch the other one. So that's where I'll be at.
I'll be right here in Funcy, keeping everybody updated on any news. So with that being said, we'll see you Tuesday, guys. Go Irish.
By Samauja, inside the 20, inside the 10. He's going in. Notre Dame has scored.
Go, 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 go! You will be that driving force to motivate those coaches and those players to beat Southern Cal.
Notre Dame is relevant again.
The 20, the 10, 5-5 rocket touchdown.
Notre Dame is number 1.
It's a game of who's going to flinch first. And we know that it will be Notre Dame.